How's it going, everybody? Just want to give y'all a quick disclaimer before we get into this week's episode. Unfortunately, our video recording decided to cut off right when we started recording, so there will not be a video feed for this week's episode, unfortunately. However, the audio file still works completely fine. We have all that taken care of, so there's still a version of that out for this episode, which you're currently listening to. But yeah, just want to give you a quick disclaimer on that. I think us talking about two bad movies probably brought that curse on ourselves, so guess that's our fault. But yeah, hope y'all enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. My name is Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
And welcome to the 11th episode of In a Wider Screen, where
two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies. So today we have a very special guest.
Whoop, whoop.
You've heard her voice before in the background, and now she's officially on screen, on camera. This is... if you want to introduce
yourself?
The star of BTV.
The former director.
Yeah, former director, actor, producer. Yeah, BTV. I'm Brianna. I go by Bri.
Mm-hmm.
Call me whatever.
We're really happy to have you on as our first guest. So.
Thank you.
Mouthface is your name now.
Mouthface.
This is Mouthface.
Hey guys, it's me, Mouthface.
Before we start, I actually wanted to try something new for the show.
Ooh.
I don't know how good you are at these, but I figured
I can tell you right now I'm bad at it. I don't know what it is, but...
I wanted to try to ask you like a riddle type question before each episode.
Oh, riddles? I'm actually really good at riddles. Okay.
Okay. So,
I got
it. So y'all both can guess, okay?
Okay.
So a plane crashes on the border between U.S. and Canada.
No, it didn't.
Where do you bury the survivors?
The border of U.S. and Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever their families decide.
It's
not up to me. I didn't know anybody on this plane.
Okay, repeat it one more time.
A plane crashes on the border between the U.S. and Canada. So where do you bury the survivors?
You don't, because they're in the water.
They're in the water.
I don't know.
Between the U.S. and Canada.
I don't know a map!
The final guesses? Okay, so my question for y'all is, why would you bury survivors?
How's it going?
Because I'm sick and twisted. I just live like that.
They were supposed to die.
Nazi Final Destination.
Oh my god. No, okay. That was a good starter question, I think.
Yeah.
I honestly I thought you would get it after I repeated it.
Yeah, I'm really good at riddles, except I'm stupid, so I'm not.
No, we'll play around with that.
Yeah.
So, like we said, we introduced Brianna as our first guest, so if you want to just let our audience know a little bit about yourself, just quick.
Yeah, do you have anything, like, background in movies?
Like, yeah, what's your knowledge in movies?
I feel like that's a loaded question, and I don't know how I'm supposed to answer.
This is actually an
bringing you on for interrogation?
I know. All right, well... I'm trying to decide which route to go.
Which route to go? I never gave you so many.
Well, my name is Bri.
Hi, Bri.
Hi, Mouthface.
Sorry. My name is Mouthface.
Hi, Mouthface.
I have been besties for the resties with Martha since we were in like 4th, 5th grade.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so we've known each other. We go quite a ways back. Caesar and I...
We met junior year, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
We were both superstars on BTV.
Yes, we were both.
Literally, the only reason why Martha is here with me as a friend is because of Brianna.
Yeah, because she was like, this is my best friend. And I was like, no, he's my best friend. And I don't even think you knew him very well.
No, we didn't at all.
Y'all both just started like trying to like get my attention. I was like, I don't know you.
That's
just go away. You scare me.
but kind of stuck.
We were like quirky in high school, so I was like, well, this stranger's my new bestie. So, and then the rest is...
And I was even more weird, I feel like, in high school than I am. I feel like... well, actually, I won't speak on that. But
yeah, let's... moving on. So that's kind of our history with Brianna.
Yeah.
She's a cool gal. Sometimes. And...
That's fair.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you, since the movie show, I just want to kind of think, what's your movie taste like?
I really like bad, trashy movies. I don't know. I also like movies where kind of like nothing happens. like
just mindless.
Mindless, dumb fun.
I really liked the movie mid-90s. But Martha's really mad that I like that movie.
That should have been on my... No, okay, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but...
That's it. That would be in your worst list?
No, I don't think it would be, but I think it'd be, floating around the surface of that list.
I think that's a little much.
I was just kind of like... I was bored with it. It didn't do anything special for me.
That's why I liked it, because it was
Because nothing happened.
Because it was very like, oh, okay, like this is real. Same with like 8th grade. I feel like it was very movie where it's like, oh, okay, like this is like just a little real.
You kind of like, is it like, what do they call those? Like slice of life kind of movies?
Yeah.
I feel like you like those.
Yeah.
There you go.
I forgot we saw that together.
Yeah, we did see that together, yeah.
I remember you like wanting to leave and Brianna's like...
She was so into them.
This is so good.
It's over it.
Well, you did say you like bad movies, so this is the perfect first episode to bring you on for.
Percy.
Yeah.
We are talking about the Percy Jackson series.
Yes,
you hear series and you think there's like 5 whole movies.
Yeah,
no, there's only 2.
I mean, there are several books.
Yes, no, there's a whole series.
Yeah,
but
we only brought out the first 2 because there's only 2 movies.
There's only 2 movies.
But so there's only 2 movies for a reason.
Right.
This was a major disappointment. It was a fail.
Here we go.
So let's talk a little bit about whether or not we've all seen or read the books. So
okay, yeah, I think that's a good first start.
I read these books when I was in elementary school, and these were like the first books that I've ever read that I was like really into, and they like changed my life. I love books now because of these movies.
Yeah.
Because not the movies,
not
because,
the movies.
because of these books.
Yeah.
So I was a very big fan of these books. I read them religiously. The cover's all torn on this one because I read it so much, and I was so excited.
And you never went back to the Lightning Thief, I guess.
This one's a newer version of it. No, I didn't like the first one. No, I love the first one.
What would be your favorite book in the series? Get a pick.
Mine is the Labyrinth's Curse.
That's
the
Labyrinth.
Something Labyrinth, right?
Yeah. I think so.
I will say I read the books. I read the whole series when I was around 10 or 11, something like that. I remember liking them a lot, and I remember my favorite one being the last book, whatever that one's called, Olympus.
The Last Olympian.
Battle.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Right. Oh, that's the best one.
Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Right. But I'm pretty sure I just read the books at the time because the Lightning Thief movie was coming out, and I have not seen or done anything Percy Jackson wise since till now. So
that's
the least experienced, I guess, when it comes to the
so you're definitely going to get
lore.
Some different perspectives out of this.
But I understand what's happening. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, and for you?
That's I read the books when I was little. I read a lot of books because I
nerd
was weird. No, but I read the books when I was young, and I remember really liking them. I remember seeing the movies in theater, and like when you're little and like a movie adaptation comes out, you're like, this is so cool.
And that's a world to you,
especially at that time, basically every book was getting adapted. Harry Potter obviously started, but then you had Twilight and you had Hunger Games and everything. So when Percy Jackson's coming, you're like, oh.
We were very excited.
Yeah, I actually met Rick Riordan.
Rick Riordan.
I cannot say his name, but I met him once. So he went to the school that we go to.
Yeah, he's from San Antonio. He went
really?
He went to UTSA. He graduated from there.
With the communications degree.
Communications. We're going to
I'm good then. I thought about switching so many times.
Yeah, but he came to book fairs and stuff like in middle school. I
had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I got to meet him, and I was like, I was very
Did you like bow in front of him?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, Mr. Rick.
I was gonna ask you too. I know he's written like several like spin-offs. I think after. Have you ever read any of those? There was like one called Heroes of Olympus or something that I
always meant to. I actually because there's the new series coming out for the books, which I'm very excited about.
Yes.
Mr. Uncle Rick is going to be a part of it. Yeah, that's what everyone calls him, Uncle Rick.
The hope about all this is that we are going to get a Disney Plus series about with Percy Jackson
with him
involved.
Good. Yeah,
that actually hopefully is good because he's involved. So
so I'm very excited about
hopefully
that.
That'll erase.
So I started rereading the first one, and then I definitely got sidetracked and didn't read the rest.
I just went through and I drive a lot. So I started listening to audiobooks when I drive, and I had finished all of the Twilight books, and I was looking for something else, so I decided to start rereading Percy Jackson. So like a month and a half ago, I finished all of the books in audiobook format. So I have like a fresher idea where I remember, but I do want to say the books when you're like 9 or 10, awesome. The books when you're 20, awesome too.
Awesome?
Yeah, they're still awesome.
Yeah.
I might have to go back and reread the
highly
series.
recommend
I have all the books still.
Yeah,
so.
I gotta finish what I started.
You don't even have all the books.
So we're gonna really get like different perspectives. Someone who hasn't read it in a very long time. Someone who read the first one recently. And then the one that got all of them.
Yes. So definitely some interesting perspectives here, which I'm really excited to get into. So,
we didn't.
Yeah, let's talk about our shirts.
I didn't even.
Cecil didn't get the memo to
So what happened was I showed up at the camp last minute. All the good,
and so they
t-shirts
slapped
were
a
out,
sticker upside down.
Slapped it upside down.
So we have our Camp Half-Blood shirts, and I got it's not a Yankee baseball cap, but Annabeth in the book has an invisibility cap.
How are you more faithful to the book than the movies are?
Because it's not hard to have a hat.
It's not hard to
have a hat.
Because it's not hard to have orange shirts.
Yeah, it's, This is actually my costume shirt, so underneath it says costume. I love Halloween.
I got this at the Khalid concert we went to like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
Was it?
It was fine.
It was,
I like Khalid.
It was there.
It was there.
There were songs.
There were songs, there were speakers. There were fans there.
You were waving at that one guy with the watermelon shirt the whole time.
Yeah.
I remember I went with my sister and y'all were on the opposite end and we were like flashing our lightning.
Yeah.
But anyways, so let's just get into the first movie of the two. That's Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
The Lightning.
It is directed by Chris Columbus, who, if you don't know that name, he's directed quite a few very
Harry Potter.
He directed both the first and second Home Alone movies, the Mrs. Doubtfire, the first 2 Harry Potters. After this, he directed Pixels.
So he's really gone downhill.
So after the Harry Potters, it kind of went a little downhill.
Yeah.
But still, like, some of those movies are, like, iconic to this day.
Yeah.
Classics, really. Starring Logan Lerman, Brianna T. Jackson, Alexandra Daddario, Sean Bean, Pierce Brosnan, Steve Coogan, Rosario Dawson, Catherine Keener, Kevin McKidd, Joe Pantoliano, and Uma Thurman. It's a big cast.
It's a really good cast. Yeah.
It was released on February 12th, 2010. It was made on a $95 million budget, which doesn't really look like it. And it made about $226 million. So not great.
All right.
But I guess it was good enough for a sequel.
Yeah. I definitely imagine this one having a smaller budget.
They thought it was. But yeah, so what was your first experience watching like The Lightning Thief?
So I don't think I like vividly remember. I remember seeing it in theaters, but I don't.
Same here, yeah.
And I have a feeling that I was very excited about it. And I remember that I loved it when I first saw it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Because I was a kid and, because it came out 2010, right? So it was 10. And I didn't know good from bad with movies.
And I think we were just so excited to see Percy Jackson on the big
that was
screen.
it. So I was very excited about that. Also, I was in love with Logan Lerman, as everyone is. That's, come on now. It's him. Everyone loves him.
Right.
So I was very excited about the movies. I remember that. But I don't have like a vivid memory of like sitting in the theater watching it. But I do know that I did see it in theaters.
I also saw it in the theater. I actually saw it on I'm a military kid, so literally like all my movie going experiences till I was like 12 were all like on base.
Oh.
It's kind of weird. Like, I remember one of the weirdest things for me growing up watching a movie like on a military basis, they play the national anthem before each movie. And I thought that was normal. So the first time I saw a movie like outside, like off base, I was like, where's the national anthem?
This is wrong. Unacceptable.
I don't understand why they play it before the movie.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think it's... sometimes, honestly, I don't understand why they play it before sporting events. They don't play it before concerts. They don't play it before...
And they play it every day at noon on base.
Yeah.
That's fun.
But yeah, I just remember having that weird memory of the national anthem playing. Yeah. And I don't remember if people were standing or not.
Standing in the theater before.
Yeah.
Great.
Just to watch Percy Jackson.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, but I do remember seeing it in theaters. I remember liking it because, like you were saying, I think I was just a kid that was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah.
But did you see it in theaters too?
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Yeah. Again, I remember being excited, and I remember like telling my mom like, we have to see it. Like I remember I also had a habit where like on accident I would read books right before the movies would come out.
Yeah.
But like with Hunger Games, I did a book report on it.
Oh,
and
gosh.
then when I was doing research, it was like, there's actually a movie coming out next year, and I was like, so I think the same thing happened here where like I read it and then I found out that the movies were being made, and I was like, well,
You just had your
that's kind
timing
of cool.
perfect.
Yeah, it was for like a lot of the books, like all the
Yeah.
Divergence and stuff, like all of them I read.
Maze
Oh, I
Runner
forgot about
and
that series.
all
Maze
of the-
Runner
Yeah, that
too,
was the
yeah.
other one that we
We
read.
have so many YA like adult. Like,
that
books
was
to
our
get into.
thing. We loved those books, so we
Yeah.
got plenty of those.
So this is gonna be probably the first of many
Oh, first
adaptations we're gonna talk about.
absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so now let's compare or contrast with
Yeah.
your current viewing. What were y'all's impressions with this viewing?
Okay, so
Oh, spoilers.
spoilers ahead. Yes, God, I always forget. You're supposed to be in charge of that.
There are spoilers.
So watching it this last time, I definitely see more because I'm looking at it through a different lens of
Sure.
like how are the actors in it, how's the story being told. Definitely not as big of a fan as I was the
To say
first
the
time I
least.
saw it. Yeah, a lot of the acting, it's hit or miss, I think, for a lot of them, which is weird.
Would you say that more for like the leads or like the supporting characters?
I think Logan Lerman is a fantastic actor, but what did he do in this movie?
I didn't mind him that much.
Don't
in
you
this.
dare say a word about him.
He was like, "This is your problem,
Yes.
not my problem.
Yes.
This is you."
I remember how he read that. I was like,
Yeah, I think
I don't blame him. I thought he was fine for the part. But
Yeah, he's
For what he could do,
he's
Yeah,
pretty.
he's pretty.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what matters.
Sorry.
But yeah, so that there was some problems with that. I felt that the plot was just really fast. Like I
It-
just feel like it moved
This,
way too
literally, this
fast.
entire movie is just plot. Let's just get from point A to point B.
Yeah,
And then, like, nothing stopped. Like,
there's
nothing
no
gets in the way of that.
backstory. There's nothing.
No
yeah.
character development whatsoever. It's just plot.
Yeah.
I do want to say, I forgot.
Go for it. What'd you forget?
I just think like there are so many things in the movie that didn't happen in the book, and there are so many things in the book that they left out of the movie.
And such great things. And I think we should save that towards the end to like talk about like the differences between the
Yeah,
movies.
so I think
Okay.
what we should
Yeah.
do first is just talk about just the movie itself, and
Yeah.
then more specifically, I feel y'all know more about how it is as an adaptation.
and then we'll kick Caesar out.
Yes, I'll just stay quiet for that part of it. Though I did do some research on it after the fact because I saw how angry the fan response was, and I was like, I didn't think it was that bad. But then like I read how much they changed and what they left out.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah. I get it. So y'all can get into that. But yeah, like we were saying, I just felt like this was just all like just you didn't really care about anyone because they didn't focus on anyone.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, I was just so disappointed in that because like we were saying, this is by Chris Columbus, who did the first Harry Potter, which is like I feel like the best way to start off a series. I think like I feel like in a movie like this, you're supposed to set up a world and set up characters that you're gonna want to follow for a whole series.
Yeah.
And like I feel like in that it was perfect, and he just does the opposite
Yeah.
here, and I could not
I agree.
understand it at all. But
Yeah, I definitely think that's it's definitely weird to see just no connection to the characters.
yeah,
What did you think watching it again?
First off, I hated the camp scenes.
okay, yeah,
Yes.
yes.
I'm not trying to be like, well, in the book, but like, I don't understand why they're running around in armor the entire camp.
And then they're wearing jeans under their arm. Well, how are they fighting in jeans?
I
don't
literally
get
wrote it
that.
down and I was like, it's the wardrobe in this. It's like, so first of all, this is still a camp with
Yes.
a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And like, if they're playing capture the flag, they're wearing armor. That's fine.
Yeah.
But just like all around the camp, they're all wearing armor.
And it's the same as like, I don't know, like the background characters are very cheesy where they're like there's a scene that I watched and I rewound it because I was like laughing so much because he's like, he has like a sword and a shield and he's like going through the bushes and he's like and then he like keeps running, like it's just so cheesy. And again, like it's a YA movie, so like I feel like all YA movies are kind of like that level of cheesy where like all the extras are still like focused on the main characters and everything, but this was just bad.
It was just too much.
It was bad.
And I guess my issue too with the camp and pretty much every other setting is like, I mean, I hate comparing this to Harry Potter, but it's like it's clearly like it feels like it's just trying to be another Harry Potter, but it's like even when Harry's like first sees like Diagon Alley and like all these different places, there's so much like I guess wonder in it. Yeah. And this is just like none of that is.
It didn't have the same.
No, there's nothing exciting about.
It's like
anything new that he's seeing, or like this is a whole new world of like Greek mythology into the modern world. That like it's so cool, but like you don't get that.
You don't get that feeling, which is very upsetting because I was very into Greek mythology after this movie. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm supposed to be reading the Odyssey. I have to read it by the end of the night, actually. So, should get on that.
Just do it on this instead.
Do you want to just
we'll switch it up? Yeah, talk about I'll read it to you guys. Perfect.
Okay, but yeah.
But yeah, so that was So watching it again definitely didn't have the same effect as it was the first time. But yeah, I think so moving forward to like the beginning scenes, you see him. He's in school.
Yeah.
At Yancey Academy, and
what's the name of the school?
Yes, yeah, Yancey, which was it's supposed to be a private school. It was more of a public school.
They look like a public school.
It's a school for delinquents, is what it's supposed to be, because he can't, focus because he's ADHD. And by the way, does dyslexia work like that, where like words just kind of float around?
But he didn't have regular people dyslexia. He had Greek god dyslexia.
Special dyslexia.
Some of the ways they use his dyslexia in both of these movies, I just thought it was ridiculous.
I thought it was kind of cool. I really liked how like you could look at it and like you could see it, because like not.
Well, that I don't mind. Like I understand that part of it, but there's like. I won't get into it. It's more something that happens in the second one that I just like could not believe.
Oh, the map lines?
No, not that.
I thought that was cool.
It was the UPS.
Oh, okay, yeah. How he could change the logo with it?
Yeah. We'll get into that. Well,
okay. Yeah, we'll get to that.
But stuff like that. But I like how he thinks. I feel like his dyslexia is like a curse or something, and I like how it's like. Well, no, it's just how it's wired different. I guess, because of his.
He's different.
He's
different.
Not like other boys.
He's like other half-bloods.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, how did you all? So I didn't know this was a thing either, that they kept calling the demigods in it, but in the books they don't call them that. They call them just half-bloods. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that I don't know. That wasn't one of the things.
It wasn't a big thing for me either.
A lot of people online that I was reading had an issue with that. I'm like, I think they're just nitpicking.
Just fake fans then.
I understand that like there are things when adapting a movie to a book, obviously you're not going to get it 100% spot on, even though the book is a script. Like it literally tells you everything that you need to do. But like I know that there are some things that you have to change.
You're not going to fit everything into one movie.
Yeah, so like that's something out of everything in this movie, I'm fine with them not saying the right word. Like
right. Like that's the least of the words.
That is the least.
Right.
I agree. So that was,
What did y'all think of Percy's friends in this?
So that is one of my biggest things with Grover.
Grover, I know in particular, is a big thing.
He is supposed to be very shy and very just worried about everything all the time. But in this one, he's very
he's a ladies' man.
Cool ladies' man, confident.
Very confident, and that's not Grover.
Right.
Yeah, which is, I don't know. They're all of their characters are just very different. I think the only one that kind of stays somewhat true, but even then is kind of a useless character in a way that the way that they made her was Annabeth.
But even at the same time, isn't she the daughter of Athena? She's supposed to be more the wise character, and they make her a warrior in this.
Mm-hmm. So it's
she's she's the daughter of Ares. Or
none
something.
of the characters are true to how they're supposed to be.
And I feel like they flirt way too much in the first movie. I feel like it's supposed to have been I didn't believe
he simps over her so much in this. It's too much.
It's supposed to be a very slow burn relationship between the two of them.
But it's
especially because in the books they're 12.
They're 12.
So they don't. They're not like, oh my god, she's so hot. It's not like that. It's about like, but like from the second he sees her, he's like, who's that? Like
I know.
Which is
like, oh my god.
That's not how it's supposed to go, but whatever. So their relationship was very upfront, which is weird to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say with Grover, I mean, even though they made him more of like the funny guy, which is not he is, I liked some of the humor. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I feel like because the movie was just so like.
Yeah,
it kind of brought something to it, and also like, I mean, I'm assuming in the book he's the protector, and I mean he kept that part of it.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah.
I mean, he has some lines that made me laugh. Like the one he said, "You're gonna kill the janitors. Those are working class Americans."
Yeah, that was funny.
And
he
then
did have some funny lines.
"You're burning money. We're in a recession."
Yeah. So things like that. He did add. He was a good comedic relief character.
Yeah. Even though that's not true to his character.
It's not true to his character.
I'm just gonna
but
work
I think
with
it works. Yeah, it does work. So I'll let it slide. You know, I guess that.
But
works.
everything else.
And everything else, got some problems with that. So let's go into the capture the flag scene.
Okay.
Okay, so he very quickly learns how to like maneuver a sword, which that's not how it works.
Right.
Trust me, I know.
I'm not gonna ask how you know. I'm just gonna trust
As
you.
a professional sword wielder.
Right.
I really want a sword so bad.
You're not okay with your toy lightsaber right now? It's not enough for you?
I mean, it's cool and all, but like, I just want a sword. I so desperately want it. Brianna knows. I talk about this every day. How desperately I want a sword.
Are you just jealous that Percy learned it too fast?
Yes.
At least you're on it.
I'm honest. Yeah. He learns very fast. He learns all the tricks about, like, he's very good at controlling water very fast, which is not supposed to happen. He's supposed to be very clumsy with it at first. He doesn't understand his powers.
Like, he's supposed to kind of just learn about that as he goes, not just know from the beginning.
Yeah.
And even without looking at the book, I feel like it's just unrealistic to for a boy to have powers and then suddenly just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, I know how to do this. Like,
yeah.
It's
so that was not a
and it's kind of annoying to see characters still have that type. Like, as much as I like the new Star Wars movies, I mean, Rey is the same way. I think.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of. I think the only one that the one that comes to mind that doesn't do this, which I always appreciate, is Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man ones.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't know what he's doing as a kid, and they make it very clear, and that's why I really appreciate those.
And
movies.
something that's also good is like once he gets his powers, it's like everything's like so cool. Like there's wonder and like he just thinks that's all so cool. She's just kind of like, oh.
He's like, I'm
the son of Poseidon.
I can move water.
Whatever. Yeah.
Dude, okay, the fact too, I want to say the fact that they kept repeatedly would not tell him what was happening earlier.
Yeah.
Like because like, what's going on? Listen, hold on. We'll just walk to your mom. Like we need to go to your mom's. We need to go to your mom.
Yeah.
You can't walk and talk.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about Chiron.
Okay.
I
took a second to remember who Chiron was. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the
centaur.
Centaur. He.
I could recast him in the second one. Like, damn, he really did not want to come back.
Was like,
good for him.
I'm like King.
Good for him.
King Pierce Brosnan.
He's made the smart choice, not coming back. I feel like they tried really hard to make him into another Dumbledore.
You know, I don't know why that connection did not come to my head while I was watching it. But
because think about it, because he's supposed to be this teacher for him, but then was also like, but I'm also not going to tell you anything, and you're just going to have to figure it out on your own, and risk your life while doing it.
And you disobeyed me. I'm proud of you. Or like, I'm good. Like, that's good.
Yeah. But see, and that's another difference, which we'll get into that later. But yeah, I don't know. I was not a fan of him in the first movie. Hated him even more in the second movie, which I'll talk more about character development between the first and the second, because I have a lot to say about that.
For sure.
Yeah, where it's non-existent. But yeah, he was just so pointless.
I think a lot of the characters were even bad. I mean, I will say some of the actors, I enjoyed their performances. Like Uma Thurman, she's Medusa. Mm-hmm. I liked her, but the potential of that character was just. I'm saying there's so many cool like pieces of imagery of Medusa out there, and the best they could do is just put snakes on her head.
Yeah, it was.
But the iPod scene, where
the fact that he uses an iPod Touch
I love that. That is like, I remember watching when I was a kid. I was like, that's so cool. And I had an iPod Touch, so I took the case off because I was like, you never know who's going to be behind me.
Okay, actually the same thing going through my head.
So lame.
But I like rewatching it again. I know, like, again, like throw the book out the window, whatever. I love that. I thought it was so cool.
Like that's the one change I actually like improved upon.
That's
the book.
Yeah.
That's the whole Medusa scene was like bad or whatever, but the iPhone where he took the little
Genius.
iPod and looked, that was perfect. That is, I will give that 4 seconds, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, yes.
That is
I
it.
just feel
That
like-
brings the movie up.
Yes.
Oh my god. That just, I mean, honestly, it just reminds me like how bad the script is, which is, you would think like it's all plot, but there's so much plot that's like nothing.
Yeah.
Or makes no sense. Like, first of all, I'm assuming this is a thing in the book too. Maybe they don't explain it in the movie though. Why does every god assume that Percy just took it?
So, Percy doesn't, in the book, okay.
They explain it in the book, but they didn't explain this in the movie,
Yeah.
so I was just confused.
Yeah.
So, it's really not even that they thought Percy took it. They thought that Hades took it. So, they were sending Percy down. It's been a while since, like,
Yeah,
I
I
read
know.
the first one.
Yeah, no, I don't think that they assumed that he took it.
Because
They just knew that
Zeus
it
in the
was-
beginning of the movie is like goes to Poseidon like your son needs to return the bolt or something.
Well, in the movie. But
That's what I'm talking about. In the yeah.
in the book, it's different.
Yeah, Percy is not
Accused.
he doesn't know who he is. That's
Right.
another thing in the movie that like bothers me is that in the beginning of the books it's very like, oh, like he's like, oh my god, I'm a demigod, but like who's my father? And that's also how he gets
Yeah.
close with Luke, is because they're both in the Hermes cabin, because Hermes is the god of travelers. So all the kids who like aren't claimed stay in the Hermes
All right.
cabin.
Oh, and that's something in the movie. Like like right away when he gets to the camp that he's. Well, even before the camp.
Yeah,
it's
even before
Poseidon.
everyone
And
knows
I was reading that in the book. Like it takes.
It takes
a
time
long
before you
for him
find
to-
out. Yeah. So that's kind of disappointing to see. You don't get to like see him struggle with like, okay, who am I?
His identity, really.
Yeah,
or
he
Leia.
doesn't have that, which would make a really good character development for him.
But they don't care.
But they don't
care
include
about-
that,
they
which
don't
is
care about that,
unfortunate.
yeah.
So, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
But they don't really accuse Percy at the beginning. It's more that they're accusing Hades, and then they have to send Percy to go get the bolt back from Hades.
Yeah. So everyone assumes, including Percy, they all think it's Hades.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of the.
Yeah, that's something. The Hades characters in this is just pretty sideline.
I literally have written down there, F the entire underworld scene.
I will say though, the underworld, like the actual look of it, I thought it was pretty cool. Like when they're going into it, I
Yeah.
thought the visual look of it was cool, especially because
Yeah,
everything
I
else
want
was
to
just
take
so.
a gondola to hell.
I thought just
You've heard of the highway to hell?
and then they play Highway to Hell. I'm like, okay, let's.
Yeah, that was So
That's another thing with the music.
we
too.
can talk a little bit more about like their travels to get to the pearls.
Okay.
So, so they have their three pearls that they get. So the first one is Medusa's. We talked about
Yes.
Medusa's. The second place was
Nashville.
the Lotus.
Yes.
No.
No. Lotus was the last one. It was Nashville at the one with the hyena.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was
With the Hydra.
I said hyena.
the hyena. Yeah.
Like,
Which-
same thing.
Is it not common knowledge that if you cut off one head, two more grow back?
I didn't know that.
Not to Percy, I guess. But, okay, but again, also he's supposed to be like a
He's supposed to
mythology
be
buff.
so well versed in
yeah.
Greek mythology that you would think he would know that.
Yeah. Come on now, idiots.
The consistency's there. I don't get it.
Also, not to be that girl, but in the book.
This whole episode is literally just gonna go. But in the book.
But in the book.
He doesn't use the shoes. Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, no, but I just mean, there's something cool that they did in the book with, like, the whole Hydra situation, is that, the Hydra doesn't come in the first book,
It's
but
a
again, like, whatever, they had to move it
Yeah.
around. But they used the Hydra for, like, corporate America. So, like, when you cut off a Hydra's head, two more would grow back, so then, like, each Hydra was a business. So, like, they have, there's, like, a monster donut shop or whatever, and then he cuts off a head, and then two more donut shops pop up across America. So, like, they found out a way to work the magic with, like, the success of your business. So, like,
Whoa.
I just thought that was, like, a cool little, like,
Interesting.
they just used it to, like,
Taking shots at
Yeah.
corporate America.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eat the rich.
Yeah. I just thought that was a cool detail in the book.
Yeah.
But, like, again, I didn't expect them to put it in the movie, but I just thought it.
Yeah,
kinda
but see,
cool.
like all the things you guys are talking about that are in the book, I feel like would have made for some really interesting moments.
Yeah. I can see why they wouldn't add that. I feel like that's a lot.
Well, that specifically,
Yeah.
fine. But like even like you talking about like the fact Percy like not knowing
who he
his
was.
dad
Yeah,
was
would have
and
been a
all that,
really
it's
nice
just, like,
touch.
especially no one gets anything to think. Like, there's really every scene is just okay. What's next? What are we gonna find? Was it like?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think Grover again. I don't know if we're getting into characters now or whatever, but
No, go for it.
Grover being the comedic relief. I do feel like again they needed a comedic relief, but like in the books, not to be that girl, but in the books, Percy's so funny. Like there are times where like, but I also have just like a cheap sense of humor. Like I don't know, I laugh at dumb stuff. But like there were lots of times when like again I was listening to the audiobook where like I would laugh because like the stuff he would say is just funny. Like he's just like a silly little boy.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like if they would have kept it more that like Percy is the comedic relief and then they could have stayed true to Grover's character, which like I have more to say about that, but we can do that later. But I
really just think they were just trying to replicate the trio in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, you had to have the main guy, and then you had to have the Ron of the group, this kind of
comedic relief. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's bumbling.
And then it, like, to Hermione, even though, like, Annabeth in the books, I guess it's more like Hermione than the one in the movie is.
Yeah.
But.
So that was, that's another little bit that's just fantastic. So then the next pearl would be
the Lotus.
The Lotus, which I'm really excited to talk about this scene. This is the most iconic scene of any movie ever. The Lotus, the lair of the Lotus Eaters. I so desperately want to try that flower.
Me too. I remember that was another when I watched it when I was little. I was like, "That's so cool!" And I watched it again when I was older, and I was like, "Again, everything in this movie is awful, but like,
yes,
I want to go. Okay, I would like to go."
So I'm going to Vegas this summer. I'm taking a trip, and apparently, according to my brother, he's going to take me to this one place that is a like they're drinks, and they come with like this flower, and when you eat the flower, your like mouth goes numb, which isn't the same thing, but I'm gonna pretend like it is.
Pretend like you'd be like,
I'm gonna recreate it, and I'm gonna have Poker Face playing in the background.
I don't blame them for adding Lady Gaga and Kesha in this.
That's iconic,
right there,
beautiful.
But that's kind of like
best thing to come out of this movie.
That's what saves the movie.
Honestly, it is.
You're like, it gave you some hope for the rest of it.
Absolutely, it's just such an iconic scene. It's so fun to watch. Like. It's so ridiculous and almost out of place in this movie that hasn't. I mean,
when Grover's dancing, I'm like,
yes.
Like again, I want to hate it because like again, this movie sucks.
So bad.
But I'm like, yes, go Grover.
And I would watch that scene 1,000 times and never.
So is that the one scene that y'all would like go back and watch again from the movie?
Absolutely. Anytime I see that, because I've seen it a couple times, like come up on Twitter where it was like most iconic scene, and I'm like, I agree.
Yes.
I would watch it. It's so fun. I love it.
I think it's just way more energetic than anything else.
I think that's what it is. It's a nice little break from the like the blah.
And it's pretty. I mean, that scene is like in the book, right? Like it's pretty.
Yeah.
Kind of on the nose of the book.
It's slightly different, but like the concept is still
the
there.
same. I remember. Yeah. So, I think I'm good that they portrayed it the same way for the most part.
Yeah. I think it was such a fun scene.
It's so bad, but it's so again just really fun to watch. I love it.
It is. It's really fun to watch. Yeah.
I was gonna ask y'all what y'all thought of like the action scenes in this, because to me, I thought they were okay, but then the more I thought about it, they just felt like cheap, like Dollar Tree versions of Harry Potter action scenes.
Yes. Yeah. The CGI, okay, the Fury at the beginning, very scary.
Yeah.
Very scary.
I remember freaking out, yes.
I watched it again. I watched the movies again like a month ago. While I was finishing up the books, I was watching the movies with my nephew, who's 6. And then it came up and I was like, are you okay? I was like, this is kind of a little scary. I was like, it's a little bit scary, so if you want to turn it off, it's okay. I was like, but that I feel like was kind of the scariest like CGI and like this, not even a scary action scene, but like that was like
creepy looking character.
Yeah. But the rest of the action I felt.
What did you what did Will think of the movies?
He had a lot more questions than I was expecting, because he's like, was God real? And I was like, okay.
Not prepared for this
conversation. Interesting exploration.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think the action scenes are... They're there. They're decent. I don't think that they were bad.
No.
I've always said there's certain aspects to a action scene that makes or breaks the scene. One of them is having clear shots of what's going on. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of
that.
like quick cuts or anything.
Yeah, I think they did. I think it was a decent shot of them like with swords and things like that. So that I appreciate. if they would have added like a nice beat to it, which would have been very out of place for the movie, but I love it when they do that.
I love action scenes that are synced to music.
I love it. But yeah, I think they were decent. They weren't all that, but
the one action scene I think my favorite of the movie was actually the last one between
him and Luke.
I think it was just cool with the way the water was just going around him, and then that trident. I thought that part was cool.
That was cool. Definitely agree.
Because that whole Luke thing.
Yeah.
It's a Luke character, man.
The Luke character.
Because I know... Actually, go ahead, because I feel like you...
Well, are we ready to talk about the Luke characters?
Absolutely.
Yes, go for it.
Started.
Okay.
We have to talk about him.
Luke is a jerk. He's like not fun or anything. He's supposed to be not to be that girl, but in the book, he's supposed to be like very charming. And there's even a part in the book where Percy's talking to him, and he's like, "I blush just as hard as Annabeth." Like when you're talking,
he's supposed to be like this person that Percy really looks up to, and is like, he's just so cool. He's the camp counselor dude that like if you go to a camp, you see the cool older camp counselors, and wow, so cool. That's supposed to be him.
Yeah, and I feel like he still was like, but I don't know. He wasn't older because they're all like 40 or 5 whatever they are, but like I just think that having him be like a jerk in the beginning about like I hate my dad, beat up my dad for me, if you see him please kill my dad. So like having him do all of this really takes away the shock of him being like a traitor.
I mean, I knew not even remembering like his character very well. As soon as he popped up on screen, I'm like,
there's no shock value to it. It's just it's very clear cut that he's the bad guy.
And he doesn't have a scar.
He doesn't have a scar or a cool scorpion until the second.
Yeah, I just knew he was.
That's a huge scorpion. I didn't even realize that's supposed to be that one. But
I just remember first of all, I was like, how did he know every exact thing they would need for their trip?
Yeah,
right away.
He planned very accordingly. Yes. He was very prepared for that.
I was like, that's suspect.
And especially because they explained it to where he was like, oh, he thought of this all last minute. He was like, when I found out that you were going to the underworld, I thought that was a perfect like excuse to get rid of the lightning bolt. He thought of that real quick. Right. So, interesting.
No, go ahead.
He's just supposed to be very charming. He smooth talks a god. He gets a god to like follow his plans and everything. And I feel like in the movie again, he's just like a cheap like teenage boy villain who like he doesn't.
Issues.
Yeah. Yes. Well, okay, we all got daddy issues, okay, but
I don't want to see that in a Percy Jackson movie.
Yeah, but like again, he was just not good.
No. It was just a boring character.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's the main villain of your movies, like.
Yeah, which is disappointing to see.
Though I will say, I kind of understood his reasoning a little bit. Because he was talking about, like, he was basically just, talking about tearing down the system, basically. So I'm like, in today's climate especially, I kind of get where he's coming from.
I can get behind him, yeah, I think.
But I thought he was just so boring.
Yeah, they could have done him a lot better.
That's, again, and in the books, they did. They had, like, it was very complex because there are some things that, like, Luke says that you're, like, okay, no, I understand, like, what he's doing and why he's feeling this way. But in the movies, it's just like, I hate my dad.
Yeah.
He's like, I snuck into his home and I stole from him and now I want to kill him. Like that's pretty much it. But like there's just so much, again, like I feel like Mr. Uncle Rick, like he created such like a complex and like beautiful world where like all of the questions that you have like eventually get answered throughout the series, and like it's really good. And then the movies
you in one movie.
Yeah, they were just like they just vomited literally sent it out. But I have some screenshots of an email that Mr. Uncle Rick sent to the writers. I'm going to pull this up. So
I'm familiar with this email, but I don't know the exact wording. So
he said, so like the part I'm going to cover, he said, the script as a whole is terrible. I don't simply mean that it deviates from the book, though it certainly does, to the point of being almost unrecognizable as the same story, which, yes. Fans of the book will be angry and disappointed. They will leave the theater in droves and generate horrible word of mouth. This is an absolute given if the script goes forward as it stands now. But the bigger problem is that even if they pretend that the book doesn't exist, the script doesn't work as a story on its own.
And he was right.
He was completely right, because again, I feel like, again, if you pretend that the books didn't exist, like if you just see it as its own movie,
which is basically how I saw it. Yeah, it still wasn't very good.
It sucks.
It's not a good movie. No, doesn't hold up. Characters suck. plot moves too fast, and even then you don't get any background to what's happening, so you're kind of just thrown in.
Yeah.
There's no world building.
And at the very beginning is like, here are the gods.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
And they have huevos and they fight. Like,
Yeah, so that's all the backstory you need, I guess.
That's it. And it's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, which is how the 2-hour movie and you accomplish nothing.
Nothing.
It's so disappointing.
no, they had an iPod with Medusa.
Okay, but besides
they
that-
accomplished
Yeah, the
something.
casino.
Yeah, okay, but besides that, yeah, it's just it was very disappointing to see. I think overall this movie, it had so much potential to be good, and they failed miserably.
It's not good.
So yeah, so that kind of brings us to, I guess, the closing of the movie.
Yes.
One gripe that I have: how does he get up those stairs in 2 minutes?
I was thinking that too.
Which stairs?
It's at Olympus. There's like 1,000 steps, and he gets up there in 2 minutes.
I think I was kind of just not paying attention with that.
Absolutely not. I refuse to believe it.
That is the least believable part of this story.
Yeah, the fact that he got up those steps in 2 minutes, I don't believe it.
I just love how everyone in this movie has like mommy issues or daddy issues.
Right?
But who doesn't in real life?
But that's the kind of, but I like it because it's kind of like real life. You know?
Yeah,
Except for the stairs.
You're right.
Except for the
Obviously.
stairs.
But
Yeah, absolutely not.
Except that, yeah, they don't look like they're on top of the Empire State
Yeah.
Building. But
Yeah, so
did you have any final thoughts on the Lightning Thief for y'all?
do better in the show, please.
I'm begging.
Yeah, it's not great.
I will say one more thing. I liked the only other thing I liked about the underworld part was Rosario Dawson.
Yes.
I thought her character was pretty cool, but she's
Not even in the book, though. She's
not?
Because she's supposed to be, because during the summer, Persephone gets to go with her mother. And so since it was summer solstice,
and this was oh my god. Dude.
she wasn't even supposed to be there. Which I guess is okay, because I did like her character.
I liked her in the
She was
movie
cool.
though,
Yeah.
but like
So I guess that's one of the things that they added in that wasn't terrible.
I just don't understand like
Yeah.
the adaptation part of this is just. I mean, it's not an adaptation. It's not the
It's
same
not.
No.
story.
They used Greek.
Uh-huh.
They used
Use
Greek
Uncle Rick.
yogurt. They used Greek mythology, and they used the same names.
And that was it.
And that is the end of how they are similar.
Yeah, that is basically it. But yeah, so do you want to give a score for the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to go first? No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. I still, I want to say 7.
Out of 10?
I was gonna say 6.5, 7.
You said this movie sucks. That's like a
Yeah, I know.
positive score.
I know what I said. Now listen. There's reasoning behind it. It's because
I need to hear this.
it's mostly because of Logan Lerman. I'm not gonna lie. I just enjoy watching him. The movie is not great, but it's also a movie that I wouldn't mind rewatching a couple times, as long as I don't think about the book too much, and if I don't think about what I'm watching too much. It's watchable. It's terrible, but it's watchable.
It's no emoji movie.
It's no emoji
It's not.
movie. So maybe 7's a little high. 6.5.
6.5? Okay.
Because what did you rate Knives Out? Didn't you give Knives Out like an 8?
It was like an 8.
I thought it was a 9. No.
I don't remember.
That was a 9.
8.5 or something.
Yeah,
It's a weird number.
It was a-
I will flip this table. Okay. Knives Out.
6.
6? Okay. What about you?
I was gonna say like a 3.
A 3?
Yeah, I was
She
gonna
should
say
give it an 8. I love
9.5. No, I'm giving 1 point for Logan Lerman. I'm giving 1 point for the iPod Medusa scene and 1 point for the Lotus Casino.
That's a good rating system. I should start doing that.
I figured like
Just
whatever.
name every positive you have.
Yeah, and I can only think of 3.
Yeah.
3?
I originally had this a little bit higher, but after this conversation, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Yeah, I know. I got bullied into
I honestly,
lower.
I honestly went into this thinking a 5, but after talking about just how bad it is, I'm at a 4.
Yeah.
4 out of 10 for me.
I think what happened is that I rated it after watching the second one, which is far worse. And so
Yeah, you
because
think?
of that.
Okay, so now let's go straight into
let's
Percy
jump
Jackson
into
City
it.
Monsters.
That's okay.
Just to introduce that one real quick. This was directed by Thor Freudenthal, like we were saying. Pretty cool that
Thor.
a guy named Thor directed a Greek mythology movie. He directed Hotel for Dogs,
I love that.
Wow.
the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid,
Nice.
and then he last year made this movie called Words on Bathroom Walls, which
I saw that one.
You saw it?
Yeah.
How was it?
I thought
I
it
wanted
was good. I liked it.
Okay, I wanted to give that one a watch.
Yeah.
definitely not the same ensemble as the last time. We have Logan Lerman back, Brandon T. Jackson, Alexander Daddario, Jake Abel, Douglas Smith, and the Tooch.
Stanley Tucci. Okay, that was the one thing that I was severely missing in the first one was Mr. D. Dionysus. I loved that character.
I want to get into all that for sure. This was released August 7th, 2013. About $90 million budget, so it cost a little less than the first one, but it made about $201 million, so it made less than the first one as well.
Really? I was expecting this one to have like a much higher budget because of so much more CGI in it.
I think also the CGI is slightly better in this too.
Except for Tyson's eye.
Oh, but
oh God.
When I say slightly better, I'm not saying it's good, but I think it's better than the first one.
I hated it.
No, I agree. I think that there were some
So you would think it costs more, but no, it actually costs, I mean, it was like $5 million less.
Well, because they put $2.50 into Tyson's eye.
Right. Like, really.
The rest was all dedicated to everything else.
Yes,
They said,
for sure.
it's just all you get. He just walks around like,
Oh my God.
Hey guys! I was like, Cyclops.
So, what was y'all's first time watching this movie?
I didn't even see it in theaters. I was not excited about it after seeing the first
After
one.
the Lightning Thief, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw it several months after it came out, and I was because like me and my parents were like, well, there's nothing else to watch. Let's just watch this, which is not a good start for watching a movie.
No, it's not a good expectation to have
going into that,
it.
it's never good. So I saw it, and I hated every second of it.
Wow.
And I was like, this is awful. This is awful. It got worse. So
what about for you?
I think I saw it in theaters, but I shut it out of my brain. So I thought that I hadn't seen it, and then when I rewatched it with my nephew, I was like, it kind of seems familiar. And then when Tyson came out, I was like, oh my God. I remember seeing it and just like looking at him and just being very uncomfy. And like, I remember being like, this is bad. Like, this is like again, when you're 13, you can kind of understand like when movies are kind of good and kind of bad. But I just remember being like, this is awful.
bad.
When you see a movie as a kid and realize
it's bad,
that's
bad.
a problem.
Yeah. No, so then when I rewatched it with my nephew, I was like, oh no. It's upsetting, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crime.
It's a crime.
It is a hate crime.
This was actually my first viewing of Sea of Monsters. I never saw it after Lightning Thief.
I'm happy for you.
You're so lucky.
I showed some mercy towards myself on this one. I actually like this a little more than Lightning Thief.
Apart from Tyson's eye, the beginning part I think is a lot better. The first like 10.
I think the setup is pretty decent actually.
You go into this movie and it opens up like it's a frat party.
What do you mean?
I got serious like if like a frat boys were like, let's do like an
child
obstacle course
in the woods.
Oh, I forgot that existed.
The opening scene is
I was talking about the one where they were doing the tournament.
I mean, I didn't really care for that one.
But like a frat.
I feel like
but even that scene showed more of Percy than the first one. At least it showed he cared about other people.
But not my Percy.
sorry.
No. Again, I've got a lot of gripes with the casting. Again, everything from here down. These are my notes on the movie. These are the rest of the notes. Is about like how much I hated the characters.
Yes.
But I thought and there was not nearly as much armor, which I really appreciated. As they came in and like Anna. She was like in a little jacket and little sweatpants. Like I felt like that was a lot better and more it's a summer camp. It is a summer camp to train to like kill monsters and such, but like that is not.
But at the heart of it, it's a bunch of kids at camp.
They got volleyball. They got canoes.
Yeah, they also have cars. They have archery, which is a normal thing.
Right.
Swords.
I just wanted, first of all, I love how this is a premature end to the franchise because they were clearly trying to make the whole series work out, and after this, it was just like, stop. Let's just stop right here.
Quick while you're ahead.
Yes, I mean I'll get into more of that with the ending because the ending, the way it just sets up, is just.
I've got quite a lot to say about the ending.
Okay. But yeah, I don't really get why this sequel even happened either, because it's not like the first one was that successful financially.
Yeah.
The fan reception was horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know why they decided to make a second movie.
Does not make sense.
So it's not surprised that they stopped here. But,
yeah.
But since you mentioned the characters, did you want to just go go right into that, or did you have something else you wanted to
Yeah,
summarize?
I want to say like a quick overall thing about the characters
sure.
is that any last redeemable qualities that they had in that first one just completely went out the window. In this
Especially
one.
Annabeth.
Like Annabeth
Hated her
was like
character.
she had
She was a piece of shit in
almost
this
the
movie.
potential to be like, kind of a badass, but this one they were just kind of like,
They made her a piece of shit. in this.
yeah, like
She
she
just is an ass.
she's just exists, and like Percy kind of is just kind of like
She just
she's
exists to
pretty,
be
but whatever.
annoying and racist towards Cyclops.
Yeah, she was just so that sucks. Grover, who was like
barely in
once
this.
a loyal friend, is now like at the beginning of the movie. He's like, "Oh, remember when you did this?" And they were like, "No, it was her." Do you remember when you did this?
Right,
and
right.
it was, and like he didn't even remember his things that his best friend accomplished and didn't accomplish.
Yeah, it's like you're supposed to be his protector. You're supposed to be with him through all of this.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron isn't even him anymore.
The same actor.
It's a different guy, which is okay because I don't like Pierce Brosnan. Not a fan of that guy.
Really?
Yeah, not a fan.
I mean, I haven't seen him in much, but
Mamma Mia.
we don't need to talk about Olympians, please. Don't look at me.
He's-
Okay,
he just-
is that going to be a future episode? Let's just
Absolutely.
talk about it another time.
He becomes more useless. More useless, which I didn't think was possible.
That makes sense.
It's-
I get what you're saying, yeah.
It just
Okay. You think you're losing words. It's okay.
it's frustrating to see.
One thing I noticed right from the beginning was just the course correction they were trying to do at the beginning.
Yeah.
It reminded me of what Rise of Skywalker was trying to do from Last Jedi. And like just could not figure it out. I feel like this was the same way. First of all, they introduced the how do you say his name?
Dionysus.
Was he in the first movie?
No, which was so sad to see because he was like one of my favorite characters in the books.
Yeah, so he's in this now. Clarice is in this movie now. Well, technically speaking, there's a character named
There's a
Clarice.
character named Clarice in this movie.
The Oracle is now in this movie. And Annabeth now has blonde hair.
Suddenly.
Suddenly.
That's the one thing I didn't get right.
Highlight. But it just I'm not saying those were all welcome, but or like or like it didn't make any real difference, but it just shows that
It was
they were trying to
Percy Jackson.
course correct, and it just still
Percy
didn't
Jackson in the Sea of Useless Characters is the name of this
basically.
movie.
Yeah.
Peter Johnson.
I loved that Stanley Tucci called him Perry Johnson.
He's the best. Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
Love him, man.
Not much to do in this,
what
but
were
I really liked him.
Your thoughts on some of the characters?
Okay, well, where should I start?
Go for it. Hey, go for it.
Get ready.
Okay, I do want to say I did like Dionysus. I kind of liked Hermes. I thought he was kind of fun.
I love Nathan Fillion. I love that
I liked
man.
his scene. I thought I wish there was more of him.
Honestly.
I thought his scene was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I hated the snakes with the staff. That was...
I loved this.
Did you not know the snakes were voiced by Octavia Spencer and Craig Robinson?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
I didn't know either till after I watched the movie. And I looked up the cast. I was like, what?
Point is, I hated them. I'm sorry.
It's named Martha.
They have like
maybe that's why I
they
hated
have
it.
like 2 lines in the movie. How do you hate them?
They're so annoying. And those 2 lines, they're annoying. And also, how
It's that much more annoying than the rest of the movie.
Because like suddenly, like this movie takes a turn of it's like, oh look, we're a quirky cartoon. Like it doesn't fit. It didn't fit at all in the movie, and I did not like it at all.
They did definitely take more of that approach with this one.
Also, in they were like, there's that line where they're like, oh, they're snakes. That's like a harmful stereotype. They don't actually hiss, but Medusas did
They did.
in the last one. They're liars. The snakes are liars, and I don't appreciate it.
Snakes.
Anyway,
No, yeah, I will say I did like Stanley Tucci. He's not in it a lot, but I feel like the character itself is just kind of bizarre, and I feel like he plays it pretty well.
yeah.
I wish there was more of him, because you can never have too much of the Tooch.
The Tooch. Love that man.
The what?
The Tish.
Okay. Should I?
Go into whatever character you want to get into.
Tyson.
Okay. Talk about
Okay,
Tyson.
yes.
Tyson. Not to be that girl, but but in the book. So like Tyson and Percy are supposed to have a very strong bond because they went to school together that year before, and Percy kind of took care of Tyson because so like his mind is supposed to be like the mind of a 7-year-old because he's a baby Cyclops. He's huge, but he's supposed to be a baby.
Right.
He's like a himbo without the hot part.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. But like to see the relationship before Percy knows that like there's anything like supernatural with him, he just thinks like he's just this big like dumb guy.
Big goofball.
Yeah, that
It gave me Neville vibes.
yeah.
Hey, don't you ever disrespect
No, but
Neville.
listen. I don't mean it the same way Neville ends up kind of saving the day at the end of Harry Potter, slicing off.
Love that man.
It was the same thing. He did something and that helped them.
He did. Yeah, I think he did something.
What did he do?
do?
I wrote it down.
He took a arrow.
Actually, no, I didn't write it down. But he did
Because he
something.
didn't do anything.
Right, but to
He
me,
called him brother, and then he
it
made him
felt-
feel bad.
right. To me, it just felt like they were trying to make a Neville type of character.
That's, and again, like, I don't know. In the book, you start off with Tyson where you're kind of like, he's kind of like, I don't know. You don't hate him ever, but like there are times where you can like feel for Percy, because then when they find out that he's a brother, Percy's like, oh my god, like I love him, you know, like we're
Everyone's
good
just so
friends.
embarrassed of him.
Yeah, so he's just really embarrassed, and then to be able to see like throughout the book that their relationship changes,
Yeah.
and then it goes from being like, oh, this is my friend, to like resenting him for being his brother, to then finally at the end when like he does call him brother back, it like really means something. When in the
Yeah.
movie it's just like, you're my brother, and he's like,
Right.
no, you're not, and then he's like, oh,
And then
you
later
made me
on-
sad, and then
And
he dies, and then he's like,
Comes back to-
brother, like
Yeah.
they had nothing. Like I feel like again, like in these movies, everyone is missing chemistry.
Yes.
Like I don't think anybody had any chemistry with anybody. Like it all
agree.
it was just actors saying lines to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a perfect way of putting that.
You are my brother.
No, I'm
Sorry.
not.
You are my brother.
Um,
Also, why was he wearing sunglasses? He's got one.
I was gonna
one
say
eye.
he's really just looking at the plastic bridge. Of the
No.
glasses.
And the way that they played out the mist.
That is my biggest thing with so they're kind of retcon sort of thing going on with that, because it's like in the movie or in the books they explain the mist really well to make it seem like, so anything that magical is happening, humans can't see it
Right.
because of the mist. It's just like
It's
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah.
It's already there. Mist comes now in a spray can in the movie.
But in the coffee shop, no,
yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
was
there.
my thing. It was just there. No one saw him with the mini arms, but you could see him with just the one eye. Like, that doesn't make sense.
The only thing about that I thought was cool is that they actually showed like there's more than just this camp in terms of
Yeah, there's a
it
world
going on.
outside.
There's a
of
world
it.
outside of that.
Yeah.
That's another thing I thought. Like, they also talk about this other half-bloods. Like, George Washington was a half-blood. Harriet Tubman was a half-blood.
Yeah.
Like, they bring up
Yeah.
all these people that are
We should have
like...
had a history flashback with all of them. That would have been so funny.
Yes, I think that could have been cool.
Yeah.
They might as well have just gone for it.
Yeah, but...
The only thing there's the only ounce I feel like of character development that were in any of these movies was that one scene where Tyson's talking about how everyone just thinks he's a monster or something.
Yeah.
But even that's just kind of like surface level.
Yeah.
like-
It doesn't get too deep into it.
right.
That he scared some Boy Scouts. Grow up. Everybody, if you haven't scared some Boy Scouts...
Like you haven't lived. The same way as like you haven't had nectar.
Yeah,
You haven't lived.
lived,
Well, if you haven't scared a Boy Scout, you haven't lived.
And I love that like by the end of the movie that's like their inside joke, but like Percy wasn't even there for that conversation.
I did not even think about that. He's just like new.
That was between him and Grover, like not Percy. So I think that was like he was like, I was there, no
These
you
movies
weren't.
are so stupid, man.
Yeah, like keep up with the plot if you're gonna make it. Also, are zombies a part of Greek mythology?
I don't know. I don't know why they were
There's
there.
a lot
I
of
didn't
things.
really
Okay,
question
I
it,
know that
but-
the bull, I forget what it's called.
The mechanical bull?
The mechanical bull, it is technically part of mythology, but why? Because like it doesn't seem very godlike. Just like a mechanical bull. The thought of that coming into like Greek mythology doesn't make sense, but I guess it is a thing. But yeah, zombies. I don't think that's
No, I don't think that's.
part of that.
Not really.
So that was a little weird to see captaining the ship with
Oh.
Clarice.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so the reason that zombies come into play in the book is because, so, like, if you lose a war, you go down to Hale.
Yeah.
oh, and they're
so-
Confederate zombies.
Yeah, so Clarice's dad is the god of war.
Mm-hmm.
So then if they lose a war, then, like, he gets to take their souls or whatever. So then that's why he gave them back, is because, like, they were Confederate soldiers. They lost the war. But, like, I feel like...
In the movie, they don't explain anything.
they don't make it clear
Things
at
are just
all.
there, and you just.
They do like a short little statement that I completely missed because I wasn't paying attention to the movie anymore.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like...
sure that statement wouldn't have meant much anyway.
Yeah, so it was useless.
Yeah.
But
But that's again in the in the book, so many of the questions that you have are answered, and they like it makes more sense. And again,
I also want to talk a little bit about the Oracle, which
Okay.
I think it had like a moment there with you when you were like, it didn't recall, and then you saw it. The other, it was like sometime last year, I remember, and I was like, I don't know if this like was in the books, because it was before I reread them. It was before I had seen the movies anytime recently. So I remembered the scene of the Oracle, and I was like, if that's not in the movies, I'm totally like, I put it in my voice memos. I was like, watch the movie soon so I can figure out like if it was in there, and if it's not, I'm stealing that for a book, because that's genius. But like the concept of it, I remember reading it and thinking the concept of it was really cool. Seeing the Oracle, I don't think it paid off very well in the movie.
I do like when reading the prophecy. I think the
I
glass.
thought that
part
was cool.
That was like the most interesting thing they tried in these movies.
I do think that it was. Okay, my problem with it was like I had my own imagination of it, and I imagined it really well. Okay.
Yeah, I like what I had, again, I didn't remember, I thought that I'd never seen the second book. So like when I was imagining the Oracle when I was doing the audiobook, like I imagined it looking exactly like that. So I thought they did a good job of like keeping her looking spot on, and like the kind of like vibe.
Yeah. Apologize.
Apologize to your dog in the back.
Oh no, that's me barking.
It's just Brianna
the entire time. But I think, again, there's like a really cool arc again in the book. There's just like
we need an end in the book counter.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
Or just a button or something.
But she has a really cool arc in the entire series.
How it plays out, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. And again, I know they couldn't fit it in here. I thought they did a good job with the Oracle. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah,
except the prophecy.
The prophecy is where we have the issues with. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things that I didn't like about like going from like book to movie was that he never gets a quest. Not a single time does he get a quest. That's the whole point of the first one, is that he's given this quest to go to Hades and retrieve the lightning bolt. And then in this one it was like, don't go anywhere. And then the first night he leaves. And that's not how it's supposed to be, because in the book, he was, you can only say it in that tone. He was very like, I can't do this. Like, who am I? I'm just a kid. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And everyone was like, you're fine, go.
That's in the book. He's very like, he doesn't want the attention. He doesn't want the glory. Mm-hmm. What Percy cares most about is like his friends and his mom. Mm-hmm. He loves his mom so much. And I feel like they didn't portray that well enough.
Yeah.
But like, he loves his friends, he loves the camp, and like he really
get any of that though.
Yeah, he's like, well, maybe I'm just a one quest wonder, and
he has like this imposter syndrome going on that was just like didn't really fit his character.
But it's not even that. It's like I feel like he was more like he wanted the glory of going on a quest, when like he doesn't care. He doesn't want the attention. When he comes back to the camp, he's like, God, I hope nobody notices that like I went.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to be very under wraps. He doesn't care that people love him. He just wants his friends to be safe. Yeah.
Do right by them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which speaking of Percy real quick, I mean, I think they made his character a little more charismatic, I think, in this. I don't know but also I don't know if that's his character or just Logan Lerman. I think it's just,
I think Logan Lerman came out,
especially this was after.
Yeah. Oh, good for him! Happy Pride.
I mean, this one came after Perks of Being a Wallflower, which, like I've said before, is one of my favorite movies, and I think he's fucking amazing in that movie. So like, obviously, I think by this point, then the first, he's a better actor.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what sold it more for me, but.
I guess he does have more of a personality, but I don't think it's the correct personality.
Right. It's personality.
It's a personality. It's not supposed to be his, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it easier to root for him here than the first one, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I want to talk about Polyphemus, the giant cyclops on Circe.
Okay. I did not read
Why?
Is that not in the book?
No, it is, but why does he act like that?
How is he supposed to act like?
Cyclopes are supposed to be like,
I don't know.
Dumb. That's another thing. Okay, the intelligence level.
I didn't really think anything of it. That's why I asked.
The intelligence level of Tyson is very annoying, because like in that first scene, he's like, I understand the complex barriers of the wall. I understand this and this and like he understands who Polyphemus is. And then the next scene, he's like, we're in Washington. Hello, gods. Like,
oh my god,
just keep it
consistent. Yeah.
Either have him be intelligent or have him be stupid. Like we either want a himbo or a genius. I don't want him to go back and forth. Yeah.
And I hated the character of the Cyclops. He was so annoying. It was painful to watch that whole scene with him in it.
The one with him and then Grover's dressed up like the Cyclops, and
he was
very aggressive.
I
feel like he's supposed to be again like, oh, you're my wife. Like he's not supposed to be like, you're my wife, baby.
He's just, it's just like that whole scene is just so frustrating to watch. Also, where's Grover? In the whole movie, he's just gone.
He's literally, literally when you brought up Grover, I was like, I don't really have much to say about him.
There's nothing to say about him. He's not there, except for he's at the beginning who's like, wait, who are you again? Percy? I forgot. Yeah.
and he has his horns.
And that's it. And then he has his horns and that's it. That's all he is to the plot. And then he wears a dress.
Yeah.
Happy Pride!
Yeah, again, I was gonna say Harry Potter. Percy Jackson in the sea of useless characters.
Basically,
no one is important in this movie.
Speaking about the last lead character, Annabeth. Mm-hmm. Like we were saying, I didn't like her in this, but then also just her dying at the end too. I felt nothing.
They should have made her die like in the middle of the battle where there's still the pressure of like, are we gonna get the fleece? Are we gonna win? Like, are we all gonna die? And all of this. But then I feel like at the end where they're like, yay, and then she dies, it's like, oh,
it's like, that's unfortunate. I have it right here. So
so like
there's no stakes.
Do it again.
But then on top of that, it's just like not only does Tyson come back, but so does she. So it's just like, okay, now if any other character dies, there's no stakes. And I feel like if you would have just had them die, that would also just create an opportunity
at least
for these
kill
characters.
One of them. Right. Give them something
Give
to
the characters some
and
grief to work with or some that would have brought some development so that actually showing how much they care about other people and stuff, but no.
Nope. None of that.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate to see.
I would like to talk about Clarice.
Okay. Yes.
I feel like she's the main lead in this movie, and I feel like her and Annabeth kind of have the same thing where they're both supposed to be like.
That's what I don't understand about why make Annabeth in the first movie that warrior when that's her character or supposed to be her character.
So Clarice is in the book. She's supposed to be like very strong, and again like she puts camp at number 1, and like there's in the movie when the bull is breaking through the barrier, she's like, that's awesome. She would never say that. Yeah. She so that whole scene plays out differently, but like. It's kind of like Clarice's big moment. Like, I feel like they kind of took Clarice and, again, just made her, like, this background, like, cool, like, sexy, badass girl who, like, doesn't really accomplish a bunch.
No payoff for her.
In the book, she's, again, like, I don't know, she gets overshadowed a lot, and, like, part of the reason that her and Percy fight, it's not, like, a competitive, like, a friendly competition thing. It's because, like, she's supposed to be the leader, and like Ares, her dad, is
out of war.
Yeah, he's like, well, I should have sent one of my sons to do this. Like, don't you dare let Percy pass you up on this. Like, this is supposed to be your quest and everything. So like, that's why Percy
it's more like familial pressure.
Yeah, like,
more than like just an individual like kind of desire to up.
That he wants to beat her in an obstacle course. Like, it's a lot deeper than that. And it also makes you then feel bad for Clarice, which I feel like here it's kind of like she's just kind of annoying.
She's just an annoying, like, bully, I guess.
But she's predictably annoying. Like,
and Clarice was fat in the books, and they took that away. They just made her skinny and hot.
Rude.
That's honestly really disrespectful. I mean, too, as soon as she shows up, it's like, it's rude with Percy and stuff. By the end, they're going to, like, have respect for
they're
one
gonna be
another.
friends.
Yeah,
I mean, and honestly, the vibe of her being so annoying in the beginning kind of gave me Patty vibes from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, right? And then I thought it was even funnier when I realized they were the same director.
But I liked Patty.
But Patty had charm at least. At least she had personality.
Yeah. That one scene where she's like singing and, and Roderick's crying. The best.
Another great discussion.
We need to talk about the Diary movie.
Absolutely. That whole trilogy.
Yeah. So Clarice, she sucked. Hated that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that brings us towards the end of the movie. Luke is it was like a very quick, meaningless ending for him.
When Luke showed back up, I was like, no.
Why?
Because I know he died at the end of the first one, but I know obviously in the books that didn't happen. So like to see him back wasn't a surprise, but it's just like.
It's just.
And I know obviously he's leading to a bigger purpose or villain with his Chronos.
Yeah.
You want to have
No. You keep going.
Yeah, just to see him back, I was just like, really annoying because like, okay, he's just gonna be as lame as he was the last time, and he was,
Yeah.
if not more
He
lame.
was
Because
worse.
he was worse because he had more screen time to be lame, basically.
Yeah, and again, his character like
He
There
just
was-
gets eaten like a snack. I like that part. I thought it was funny.
it did twice.
It's just like he's just once again going through his daddy issues.
Yeah,
Just,
it's
like,
just more daddy issues, and that's it. Like, there's nothing
like give us
to his
something
character.
to grasp on with him.
Yeah.
Especially if we're gonna pay
He's
so
a
much attention to
terrible
him.
villain. So he just loses like he's not interesting at all.
Yeah.
He could be taken out and it wouldn't affect it.
And I think he also has one of the worst lines in the movie. I know you can breathe underwater, but can you breathe like this? When he's like choking out Percy.
Oh.
God,
I was like,
it's so
what
bad.
are you saying?
There were so many bad ones. But yeah. So I guess that, yeah, and then we get to the end of the movie, and then, you know, Talia comes back.
Okay. I've got a lot of beef with the end. All right.
Talk your shit. Let's
Because
go.
so again, I read all of the audiobooked all of the Percy Jackson books, and they pulled, so like Kronos is supposed to be the villain throughout like the entire series, and so is Luke, and like he works with him, and him and Kronos are like besties at the end.
Yeah.
He doesn't just like eat him as a snack.
Kronos is like the Thanos of this universe. Like it builds up to like that's it right there.
Yeah, again, like he's a really cool villain, and he's complex, and like there are parts where you agree with him, but you're like, but shouldn't
Right.
he kill all the guys?
Right.
But like, so they took the prophecy. The prophecy is supposed to be about when they turn 16. One of the gods of the big three is supposed to like have a cursed blade, and he can either make a choice that saves the world or ends the world. There's like nothing about the golden fleece in the prophecy or whatever. And then I feel like throughout this movie, they fulfill everything in the prophecy. So if they would have just ended the movie with the way where like, okay, they get home and then they like fix the tree or whatever, if they wouldn't have put Thalia in there, I feel like then they could have been like, okay, we just like kind of smushed the best parts from like all the movies and put them in because like we knew it was ending. But when they brought Thalia back, they're like, oh my god, is she gonna be the one in the prophecy? You just did everything the prophecy
You just completed
said.
the prophecy.
Like,
Why does it matter?
They took all the drama out because
Yeah.
again, like there's nothing like it's supposed to be about this choice when he turns 16, and also Percy doesn't hear the prophecy until either like the second till I think he doesn't hear it until the last book. So like it's all this like drama of leading up to this prophecy, and he just knows that when he turns 16, a child of one of the big three. So then when Thalia comes back to life, Thalia's like 15. So that's what adds the drama of like, okay, well maybe it's not me because I'm only 13. Maybe it's Thalia because she's almost
Right.
16.
Yeah.
So like that's what also adds to like it's like a mystery. But when they bring her back, they're like, "What was it her?" No, you just did it.
I guess we'll never know.
Which is what I don't understand is like they leave it off on a cliffhanger
That's
unintentionally, but it's like you're saying if they kind of
They already completed it.
completed it, so it's like what's the
point.
What's the suspense for the next one then?
I don't know how they would have if they wanted to make a third movie. I have no idea how they would have done it
Yeah.
because again, like if Luke, like I feel like having Luke like die at the end of both the books and having him come back is just like so boring.
Yeah.
But like I feel like they would have
Yeah.
had to do it because again, like Luke and Kronos are both such big
You'd
parts.
have to keep bringing him back with more and more daddy issues. So
I know, and then it'd just be like, oh, another cursed blade, another golden fleece, another this,
Right.
and you have to
Eaten
be
by
20
Kronos again.
part 4. But I just have no idea where they were going. Again, if they would have ended it before they brought Thalia back, then I feel like again it was not a good movie. But they could have at least ended it and be like, okay, that's the end.
It
We
kind
know.
of figures it wraps around like that because literally the first scene of the movie is her character and what happens. So I mean, I guess they intended it to go full circle, but it's like then what's next?
But yeah, it didn't. It made no.
It made no sense.
Like I have on the back, I said, what was their plan?
I feel like that could be asked several times throughout both movies.
That's for sure.
Because Percy decides to leave in the first one. He doesn't know where he's going. He's like, oh, I should probably figure
like,
out
yeah,
where
This is the
where
most,
the world is.
This is like
Yeah.
the most confused franchise I've seen since like the Star Wars trilogy.
Honestly, it's oof, it's not great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hell is in a recording studio. In the book. In the book. I thought
I do remember
so.
that.
Yeah.
But this time it was under the Hollywood
The
sign.
Hollywood sign, which I think is fitting.
I didn't mind.
Yeah, I
that.
think
that makes
cool.
sense.
But yeah, I love how the last line was like, "Could she be our salvation or the cause of our destruction?" I'm like, well,
No, you just did it. you just did it.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just see what happens with this new Percy Jackson show.
I hope
It's going to be a TV show, so hopefully more time developed for the characters.
Yeah.
More time to explore the worlds, and I'm assuming if they do each season devoted to a book, I think that would create a lot more opportunities. And then with Uncle Rick behind it all, I think it'll be more faithful.
Yeah. I think him and his wife are the writers, and then he's also in charge of casting, which they are going to do like an age accurate cast.
Yes.
My only worry is that I hope they find like actually. I'm not saying you can't find kids that age that are like good actors, but
I saw that meme where it was like Logan, because everyone loves Logan Lerman.
Right. I'd de-age him, honestly.
And they were like, they took that meme of Steve Buscemi where he's like, hello, fellow kids.
Oh my god.
And they were like, Logan Lerman starring in this because we won't accept anyone else as Percy Jackson.
I mean, hey, if you bring him back and de-age him a little.
I think they said that, I know fans were saying that he should be Poseidon, which I think that'd be really cool.
I actually would, yeah.
That'd be really cool. I feel like
they're going to want to try to avoid anything to do with these movies at all costs.
Yeah, probably for the best.
But I wouldn't mind that. That was actually a thing.
Okay, so I have. Is there anything that was in the books that you just so desperately wanted to see and wasn't in the movies?
Yes. Okay. So there was.
So in the book.
I can't find it. Okay, so there's a Monster Donut shop, which I just thought that was funny because they're in the middle of the woods and they're like, Tyson, like they're sick of him. They're like, just go get us some donuts or whatever. And then he comes back with donuts and they're like, how did you get these? Because they're just in the middle of the woods. And then it's called Monster Donut Shop, just how you would be like, it wasn't for monsters, but I just thought it was like really funny that it's just like Monster Donut Shop. And then he goes in and he's like, well, it's for monsters. Like, I thought that was really funny. There's a really cool scene where when they're sailing through the Sea of Monsters, and it's just Annabeth and Percy, because again, like Tyson is supposed to die after like the crash when they.
So he dies earlier in the movie.
Yeah,
I mean, in the book.
And that's what kind of adds to like their bond, is because Percy's like, God, like I was such a bad brother, like, and we didn't even have time to like make this journey together. Really, like. When my brother's
like
dead.
they actually had time to like reflect on like to process some of that grief, or like kind of
where when he's doing stuff
guilt
he's
of like not doing enough as his brother or whatever. Yeah,
he's like, I'm doing this for Tyson. And then when he comes back, it makes it so much more dramatic, because you go so much of the book thinking that like, is Tyson like really dead? And then he comes back at the end and like saves everybody, but it's like, I don't know, it just means more. But there's a scene where they're going through and there's like the little mermaids. And then the mermaids sing you a song that's like so like Sirens. It makes you they like make you want to listen, and they show you like your deepest desires and like what you want most. And Annabeth is like, I know this is crazy, but I want to listen to them. And Percy's like, no, you shouldn't, but okay. And then like he's able to see like what Annabeth's deepest desires are, and I feel like again that just adds like deeper to her character, because you can see like she wishes that her parents were together, even though her mom is like the literal god of wisdom, and like her dad is just like a professor. Like she just wants them to be together, and she wants to be with Luke, which also is like
another thing. Yeah, is like they have a lot of history together, which you don't get to see any of that.
I think the only hint is the opening scene.
Is the opening scene, and that's it. But there's a lot of history between the two of them, so that's disappointing that you don't get to see that, because that would add to his character as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they just? Clearly, they didn't read the books. Number one.
No, they did not. They took a glance. They're like, okay, I got some of the names.
Like she said, read the synopsis.
Yeah.
They just
type the synopsis on Google. Okay, you know what? I think
on Wikipedia, they were just like, oh, this looks about right.
Perry Johnson. Okay, we got it.
Perry Johnson.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that scene would have been, like, I wanted to see that. And there's a scene that I thought would have been really funny, where they go to they go to an island where the lady, I can't remember who she was, but she was like, oh, I'll fix all your problems, Percy, just drink this drink and you're going to be cooler and smarter and hotter and, you know, all of this stuff. And then he's like, okay, and he drinks it and he turns into a guinea pig. And she's like, because men are pigs.
That sounds great.
She has like a big pin of guinea pigs that are all the men that have come to this island. She tricks them into drinking this and turns them into guinea pigs, because she's like, you take all the credit. She's like, this is Clarissa's mission.
I remember that. That was the...
That's clean shit, honestly. Right
that's there. I was like, yes, ma'am. Yeah. I was very... I thought that would have been funny and added to,
if they
would
would put that in the movie, people would be like, oh, they're turning SJW, they hate men.
But that, I just thought that it was funny. Or they didn't even have to put it that, like, he's a man part. They could have just done that, like...
No, but still, I think that's funny.
Just picked...
I wouldn't care, yeah.
Yes,
That
I thought it was so...
It was funny, yeah. For me, there was two things... They're just small things that I would have loved to see in it, because I talked about most of the things that weren't movie and book. One of them, no blue foods.
Oh, yes.
Which is so disappointing, because, again, that would give so much more to, like, their relationship between him and his mother. Which is so upsetting to not see that, because that's, like, a really cute thing.
There's no references to his mom in this movie at all, are
Yeah,
there?
No, she's non-existent. He completely forgot about her. He was like, I have a mom.
Like, I saved her, that's fine.
Yeah. And then the other one is no one called him seaweed brain.
Yes.
That was so cute. And it didn't have it. It was so sad.
And that's a way that they were, like, playfully, like, not flirting, but, like, friendship
like a
thing.
teen, like, they were young, and they were like, yo, yeah, I was seaweed brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's something else that I really missed, that I'm disappointed that they did not add, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's
okay.
Kind of some final things. So are there any other final thoughts you guys have?
Yes, just some quick little things I wanted to touch.
Okay.
I was saying that the visual effects I thought were a little bit better this time, but still, there's a few exceptions. The bowl at the beginning, I like the idea of it, but it looked like it came out of a PlayStation game. The surfing scenes looked ridiculous.
Why could Luke walk on water? The entire point is that
Jesus. What is going on? And Luke's not even a son of Poseidon, so it's like why
is he
suddenly able to do this?
That's instead of making that, because I feel like in that scene where they were in the boat, they built up all the suspense, and then he's like, "Why are you walking on my roof?" Like, they took away the suspense. I feel like they could have, like, added the comedic relief part in there if he would have tried to jump on the wave and then fell. Yeah. I thought that would have been like,
yeah. But no, none of that. I will say though, with the effects real quick, I thought like the imagery of the sea monsters was kind of cool looking. And I also think the fight at the third act, looked fine visually. Yeah. And even though the bull, I didn't really love the way it looked, I thought that was a cool action thing to start the movie, especially when he throws the pen inside his...
Yes, that was cool.
That was a cool shot. The scene where they're in the taxi, I kind of liked it, but it was like they're clearly getting Prisoner of Azkaban vibes from
like the night bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like, okay. But still, it's like, it's some energy. The fight on the boat where they're actually doing hand-to-hand stuff, I thought that was kind of refreshing. And, like,
I like the line where he's like, dude, why are you walking on my roof?
I was kind of, just a random thing. And he's like, oh, and Percy has a look, he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, he's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, and then, like I said, the surfing was just
it's ridiculous.
And like we were saying again, I just feel like the problem with this again, it's just like, I feel like this just once again focused on plot moving from this point to this point and not really anything to do with the characters. And but I do think this moved a little faster than the first one.
It moved faster, but in a way that didn't explain the plot.
It didn't really make things better. It's just at least it ended sooner.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there was just some more like jokes that I just did not understand at all. And Beth saying like, "Oh my god."
Oh, but that's a big thing.
But the way but I feel like that's the only time you hear it in the movie, so it just feels like out of left field. It felt forced. Like we were saying earlier, when it turns from UPS to OPS, and not even just a letter change, but the way
the entire logo
can just change the logo of the whole place.
It's ridiculous.
And then Percy and Annabeth singing "It's a Small World." I thought it was just so random.
It was random, but it was kind of... it did not fit their characters at all. But it was funny.
And Claire's like, "Shut up," or something.
Yeah.
Okay, can we just...
That whole scene was just terrible.
But yeah, that's about all I got.
Yeah, so overall, I hated it.
Jesus. I'm gonna give it a 7.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go first on giving it a rating, so...
This, I would say that I think I would give it a 3 as well.
3 as well?
Yeah, I feel like they were pretty on par with like both equally sucking.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I can't think of like a scene that stuck out. Like,
to me? Yeah. No.
There's no Medusa with an iPhone, but
there's no casino with
Lotus
Lady Gaga
in
the background. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4 as well. I enjoyed this like a little bit more than the first one. Like if I wouldn't rewatch either of them, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably rewatch this one. But no, these are not good movies. Just even like he's like Uncle Rick sent that email. Even if you take away the adaptation part of it, they're just not good movies.
They're not good. Yeah, talking about, so I originally had this score a little bit Well, not high,
Higher.
but it was higher than what I'm going to give it now.
Yeah, same for me. It was a 5 for me too, and I loved
Yeah, it was like at least a 5. But talking about it just made me angrier about it.
Yeah.
Giving it a 2.
A 2 out of 10.
I hated this
So
movie.
how do you go from a 6 to a... Is it that much worse than The Lightning Thief?
I genuinely think it's way worse than the first one.
Why do you think... I feel like they both just have a lot of similar issues.
I think it got worse. I think every issue that was bad in the first one got worse in the second one.
Like, they did... Like, obviously, they did the same thing, but you think, like, they handled everything worse. In this.
It got worse in every aspect. The characters,
Yeah.
the storyline, just, again, the world building, everything was worse in the second one than it was the first one. And I hate it, and it makes me upset. So a 2.
Do you think this one is also a worse adaptation than the first one? Like, this is less... Do you think the Sea Monster is less faithful than the book than Lightning Thief
I don't
is?
even... I wasn't even thinking about it in that aspect, but
I'm just
yeah,
curious.
I do think that it brings in a lot of the aspects that you missed in the first one, but like not in a good enough way besides Dionysus.
Right. Yeah, that was like... I honestly... My favorite part of the movie was him.
It was him.
Still.
He was only in there for like 2 scenes.
I know, but it's still like, I'll watch those.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So.
those are our final thoughts on the Percy Jackson series.
Sorry, this is a little bit longer of an episode, but we did do 2 movies.
We did do 2 movies in one, so there you go. But yeah.
So
We're gonna...
I'd highly recommend you don't watch these movies.
No, this is the
please.
first episode we're ever doing where we don't recommend you the movies that we're
Yes.
talking about
Do
if you
not.
haven't seen them.
Yeah, do not watch them. Read the books. Wait for the show.
Yes.
Hopefully,
Unless that's bad.
Unless the show's bad too, but I feel like even the show is not great. It should be better than these movies.
It has.
It's
to
not
be.
hard to be worse than these movies
It
at this
has
point.
to be. Come on.
So yeah, so just to close out this episode, we're just gonna start off by giving y'all our next movie. Martha, do you remember the movie?
Yeah.
picked it?
Oh yeah, I do. I'm really
Okay.
excited about this one because I really do love this movie, and I don't like rom-coms, but I love this movie. Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes.
We're doing that one. I'm very excited to talk about that.
That'll be a fun episode to
Yeah.
do. So that'll be next week. Thank you again, Brianna.
Yes,
for coming
thank you
on
so
with
much
us.
for a special guest for
Yes,
today.
we're so excited. We've been wanting to have a guest for so long. We're like,
Yeah,
who better to have on our first time? And
Yeah.
let's talk about these.
Someone who's not
terrific-
going to judge our poorly made studio.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, this is we're on a budget
How is it like
here.
being like on the set, like in the flesh?
In the flesh?
It's like BTV throwbacks, right?
Yeah, the lights are kind of dark, except I keep wanting to stare at them, and then I look back and I'm like, whoa.
Can't see it.
Ah. But yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very glad I got to rant to someone who
we loved your ranting. Thank you.
Yes,
will
thank you.
listen.
We appreciate
This
it.
is a movie deserving of the ranting for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're welcome on obviously anytime. We definitely have talked about future ideas for you to come back to.
Yeah.
That's, if I'm not on the Twilight episode, I'm canceling every like
Yeah. So
I will jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
you'll be seeing Brianna soon, very soon, many times. But yeah, thank y'all again for watching, for listening. We're on all the audio streaming platforms, so if you have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you can find us on there. We're on our YouTube channel, In a Wider Screen Podcast. Subscribe to us on there. And follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at In a Wider Screen for all updates and
fun little videos
fun little
on
highlights.
TikTok.
Yeah.
We do funny. We pull the parts that were actually funny. In,
Yeah,
but that's it.
Out of like the 5% of the episode that's
Yeah,
like kind of funny. We
that's
try
kind-
to. I just try
try
to
and
do
find
that.
those.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Other than that, that's all we have for today.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening in. But yeah, that's about
That's
it.
all. Yeah.
Oh, you get to be part of the outro. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Signing off from Beat.
Never mind. You are uninvited.
Bye.
Bye.